What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new video here on NASCAR 25, where I'm going to go over the settings of the game so you can fine-tune your AI and other things such as your racing experience. A bunch of people have been asking me my settings, so I wanted to get a proper video out for release day of NASCAR 25 Standard Edition. The game is now out everywhere. You can go, of course, get it on Xbox and the PlayStation, and I've been having an absolute blast with this game, and I am going to just dive into showing you guys all of the settings and hopefully explain them a little bit for you as well, although they explain themselves. But right off the bat, we go into gameplay, and I personally run on the difficulty preset of advanced manual transmission, brake smoothing off. You can turn this on to low. I actually recommend this. It just makes it a little bit easier to, as you can see on the right side, stabilize the car under braking, although the car already, in my opinion, they did a really good job with keeping it pretty stable with even off as well. When we come down to quick race, I haven't really touched any of this stuff yet, so we don't need to worry about that, but that's all personal preference anyways. But we jump into career. I've been running full damage, 13% length with normal tire wear and fuel consumption, normal player tire rate, grip fall off at normal. Now these are things here where if you were to turn the tire wear rate for the player to more, obviously your tires are going to wear out more. You're going to have to pit sooner than the AI, and of course you can also make your tires wear out at a less rate. And then grip fall off is related to the tire wear. The more the tires wear, the less grip you're going to have. Do you want it to be default? Well, you can also actually make your grip fall off more, or you can actually have your tires wear more, but you can actually have less grip. So it goes either way. You can really get very creative with this. So, but yeah, you can have more grip, less grip, those kind of things. But right now I'm running on default, and I feel like it's a really happy medium. Honestly, I think they nailed the default part. We do of course have the yellow flag settings. I haven't noticed much of a difference between relaxed and strict. You see, the relaxed triggers a caution if 2 or more cars are involved in an incident. Strict throws a caution if a single car is involved. I'm not sure how accurate it is, because I have spun out a single car on a road course and I've had a caution come out immediately, so maybe that needs a little bit of fine tuning. But as of right now, I haven't noticed a big difference at all between relaxed and strict, but you do see the explanation. Black flags, I do have them on. Basically, if you get a speeding penalty in pit road, you will have to come back around and do a pass-through penalty. Of course, you can turn that off if you want. Multiple stages, of course, 3 stages I've been running now that I'm going into like the truck series of my career mode. When it comes to the driving settings, I'm running it on custom, and I have everything turned off in terms of assist. So driving assist, which basically, as you can see, gives you extra control in the turns. Well, I've got that completely turned off because I don't feel like I need that. In stability help, basically, as you can see, prevents unwanted rotation of the car during brakes, acceleration, and car-to-car contact. I have that off as well. And wall avoidance, that's pretty self-explanatory. It's an assistance to kind of keep your car from hitting the wall, basically. So I have that turned off. Now, draft effect, this is an interesting one. Obviously, it all comes down to how heavily the draft affects your car, how much you're gonna like suck up to the car in front of you. Now, if you want some wild super speedway racing, I highly recommend leaving it at 50. Some people have been asking me about my super speedway racing and how it's so crazy. This is part of the reason why, and yeah, I have it at 50 for super speedways. Now, I'm probably going to be turning this down. If you want a bit more of a legitimate experience, I would highly recommend turning it down to like, honestly, like a 5 to 10 to 15 and go no higher than that. But if you want some really wild racing, of course, 50 is something you can go with. You can turn it up to 100 as well, of course. I might do a video kind of experimenting with that. AI, now this is where it gets into the bread and butter and really kind of fine-tuning things, and by all means, what I'm showing you is probably not perfect, but it's what has made me had quite a bit of fun with the AI so far. AI difficulty obviously fluctuates. 105 is, I would only recommend for super speedways, so Daytona, Talladega, and Echo Park Atlanta Speedway. And outside of that, you're going to have to really heavily rely on a custom setup if you're going to run 105 difficulty. What I recommend on anything other than a super speedway is kind of a fluctuation. When you have a fully upgraded car anyways, I would highly recommend about 102, maybe 101 if you're struggling a little bit, maybe even down to 100. But I personally haven't had a need on a fully upgraded car to go below 100. So yeah, I highly recommend about 102 or so for a good balance there. So when it comes to skill range, it is all about the speed between the fastest and slowest AI driver. Now, I've been running it at 0 for the most part, and it creates insane super speedway races. But what it does is it basically just keeps the gap between the fastest car and the slowest car a lot smaller, so the field is more condensed. And honestly, the next gen era and the Cup Series is pretty condensed, so I highly recommend running a lower number. If you want a more, I would say, kind of realistic experience, I would highly recommend, especially in ARCA, trucks, Xfinity even, I recommend going for more like a 30. This presents for me, from my findings, a pretty good spread in the field. In an ARCA race on just 13% length, you're going to be lapping cars on this setting here. So as well, I think that's a pretty good medium. Of course, you can go anywhere you want, but I felt like 30 was the best balance for me when I was looking for more slower cars to actually fall off and be able to have the ability to lap them throughout the race. But if you go down to 0, the field's going to be a lot more condensed, and I highly recommend that specifically for super speedways, and maybe use 30 on tracks that are basically non-super speedways, so your any other oval and road course as well. Stability all is about simply how stable the AI car is. If you run into an AI, if you want to right hook an AI like Austin Hill, if you want them to spin out easily, you turn the stability to 0. If you want them to just be able to basically hang on for their life and you're not going to be able to crash them no matter what, you turn it to 100. And I personally running at 0 because I want it to be as easy as possible to have car-to-car contact, have consequences, and spin out an AI. Recovery skill is at 10. You can turn this down to 0. Self-explanatory. The ability that they have to recover their car after you're trying to crash them, or other AIs having an incident and making contact as well. So I personally have this at 10 because, well, race car drivers don't have 0 skill at saving cars, but I also want them to have a difficult time saving it, so I give them a little bit of leniency and give them a 10 value. I have found this to be a pretty good happy medium as well. Consistency all comes down to the lap times and how consistent they are at setting an optimal lap time. So a low value can result in a wider range of consistency. They're going to run lap times kind of all over the place. A higher value is going to, of course, mean they are going to be way better at running lap after lap a consistent time. Now, I've run this a little bit over 50. I've put it right at 60, and I mean, there's no perfect answer for this, but I don't know. I found 60 to be a pretty good balance of, yeah, they're not always just running super quick times, but they're also, they're not blowing me out of the water, and they're also not too far off at the same time in terms of consistency. So this has felt like a pretty good setting for me. Incident frequency. Now, this is an interesting one because I've been kind of going all over the place with this. In career mode versus quick race, I've had a couple of different experiences with this. So I've turned incident frequency at sometimes to 0, and I can go to a super speedway at a setting of even as low as 10, and I will have many incidents, and not only at super speedways but other tracks as well. Certainly, I think this is something that needs some fine-tuning, because when I set it on 5 to 10, I only want an incident maybe once every stage, for example, but I'm getting that like once every like 7 to 8 to 10 laps instead. But of course, if you want a lot of crashes, you can crank this way up, and I can guarantee you, I've already tested this at 100, and they're going to crash every couple of laps. It's crazy. You can run it at 50. I personally started out at 30 in my career mode, I think it was, with the ARCA series, and it seems like in the career mode that there's a better balance, and they weren't crashing a whole lot at 30, but they would crash at super speedways. They would have the odd crash at other tracks as well. So if you're in career mode, I would recommend kind of going for 30. It seemed like there was actually a pretty good balance in that mode specifically, but in quick race, I ran it at 10, and that was too high. So that's something you need to kind of experiment with as well. As you see, tire wear effect, all of these settings right here I've got at 30. These are something that I'm going to continue to tune on on myself, but this is kind of what I've landed on for now. Tire wear effect at 30, basically the lower the number, causes worn tires to have less of an impact on AI car speed. Higher value, if I was to go to 100, the AI are going to fall off a cliff as their tires wear. What I found in a 100% length race that I did was the tire wear affects the AI speed more than it affected me. So on the long run, I started blowing the AI away, and I was pulling away multiple tenths per lap. So I decided to turn the tire wear effect down to 30, and it seems like they fall off a lot less, which is good. I personally want them to be, of course, competitive over the course of the run and be able to match what I am putting down on the laps times as well. Fuel consumption, so the lower the number on fuel consumption allows them to drive more laps before pitting, and a higher number causes them to pit for fuel sooner. Now this is something that's very up in the air for me on what I'm doing so far, and I feel like I'm actually going to end up kind of leaning towards a higher number instead of them pitting right towards the end of a fuel run. It just hopefully allows them to get a little bit more creative with strategy, but the AI strategy overall need a little bit of work. They're not the super smart AI, but they've definitely got themselves a good balance so far in this game. But honestly, I've run it at 30 so far. I highly recommend actually turning this up further to like a 50 to maybe a 60, and I'm actually going to leave it there now and kind of run it from there. Impact forces at 100, so this is how much a contact with an AI car affects my car's stability, the player itself. So a lower value with contact with the AI basically isn't going to have an effect at all, and my car is going to be able to just keep on going. But if I run into an AI at 100 impact forces, which is what I'm running at, you are going to get out of control a little bit. I've had AI run into the back bumper of me, and it hooks me around, sends me spinning into the wall, and I want to face the consequences of running into AI, and I want to face consequences of the AI running into me, and I think 100 impact forces is the perfect way to do that. AI cars in practice, that's self-explanatory, how many cars you want on the racetrack in practice. Settings, you have two controller configurations, default or alternate, and it switches just a couple of things. On default, your mirror is the left bumper, and your upshift is the Y button on Xbox and the X button. If I go to alternate, it just makes the shifts on the bumpers now and puts the mirror as the Y button and camera change as the X button. Vibration, this is something that needs some work. Now, PlayStation has gotten a whole wheel upgrade with force feedback. However, that has not come to Xbox yet. The new update where they've added some new options for force feedback, and right now, of course, I'm not playing on a wheel yet. I'm only on a controller until the PC version comes out. But I've got the strength and the trigger effects both at 100, and I can still tell you they are very, very light. I would love to see them update the controller vibrations as well after they sort out the wheel gameplay, because there is very little vibration even at 100 strength. You only feel it under heavy braking. That's the only time. Now, advanced controls, I highly recommend personally leaving it at normal. I genuinely feel like this is the best the game feels on a controller is when it's on normal. You can go to precision, and that just allows you to have more finer control over the movements. The car gets a lot twitchier at precision. You can go into custom, and you can change everything from your linearity, your dead zones, your overshoot, which overshoot has been a common issue for restart problems against AI. I heard that there's even a chance they're looking at maybe even taking this out in general. But personally, I don't recommend touching any of this, and this is all comes down to player preference and what you like to feel anyway. So if you do want to mess with it, you can, but I genuinely don't recommend it myself. I went back to normal after help with Matt Lewis, actually, from the NASCAR 25 team, and I think that the game genuinely plays the best on a normal car handling configuration. It also helps with some restart issues as well. That's pretty well it. Actually, a VSync off right now, and then audio settings, of course, that's all personal preference. But that's all of my settings that I'm running on NASCAR 25 to create what has been a really exciting and fun experience for myself. And if you guys, of course, take these settings into your game, I would love for you to let me know down below if maybe they made your game experience better or worse. But I hope I could help you in some form today fine-tune your game to be even more exciting and fun than it already is when it launched in the default settings. So that's going to do it for me. If you have any questions down below, let me know. Of course, I'll try to help the best I can. But that's going to do it for me. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching, and have yourselves a great day.